Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Tim Corrigan, who's owner of the health plan Superstore. Tim, welcome to the program.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Hey, I'm looking forward to learning from you and what the health plan Superstore is. I love the concept and the idea of what I hope that it is, just like everything in one spot that's just spectacular. So let's learn about that. But get us started with, what is your background and what has your entrepreneurial journey been like to this point in your career, and how'd you get into financial services?
Sure. Well, financial services is not where I started, but it's where I've been very, very early in my career. I kind of grew up from when I was in high school and through college, working with my father, who was an executive recruiter more in the technical industry. So recruiting and just interviewing people and just going out and finding what direction people wanted to go with their career was something that was part of my career before I even had one. And then very quickly after getting out of school, literally only a couple of years into it, is when I found myself into financial services and the employee benefits side of it. But then very, very quickly after that, it was on the recruiting side. And with it, be it from New York Life to some of the other larger companies out there, and then to ultimately finding the Medicare arena through some partnerships. And then for the number of years that we've been together, the health plan Superstore started back just over 4 years ago with some gentlemen that I had met from, ironically, recruiting years before. And it was one where recruiting is something that people avoid. A lot of people just want to build their own book of business, which I get. I know you've been in sales, you can spend a lot of time with a client, and not every single one of them comes with you. And, you're going to take your wins and your losses. But recruiting is a little bit of a different animal, because I could spend some time with you for 6 to 8 months, and I think that you're an outstanding fit. We go to dinner, you come and you see the facilities, and you're just somebody that we'd really like to try to partner up with. 8 months later, you say, Tim, I appreciate all the time, but I've gone in a different direction. That's a lot of time, effort, and money put into somebody like yourself who would have been a great fit to go in another direction. And that's what really chews people up and, for lack of a better term, really turns people off to the recruiting side of it. So I learned that early in my career and realized, okay, if you can get your arms wrapped around the recruiting side and you can really say, this is what's going to be my wheelhouse, you're never going to have an issue fitting in places, so to speak. Yeah. And then it even kind of grew from there, and then said, listen, building teams is something that I'm very, very into. There's, because of the fact of the things that I didn't like in the industry, the pyramid scheming, the selling to all your family and friends, the making you just a number. That was the type of thing that, as I was working for other companies, I said, if I'm ever in a situation where I'm the one who's having some input on the decision, we're not going to go in that direction. We're not doing the pyramid scheming. I'm not going to have you come in and say, list 200 of your family and friends. Yep. If you spent your entire life cultivating relationships with, great, we're going to destroy that for the next 6 months. Yep. We're going to annoy them to the point of exhaustion. So that's where, to kind of bring it around from me to kind of the health plan Superstore side of it, we took that recruiting side of it and really introspectively turned it outside towards the agents themselves and just said, okay, yeah, this is an opportunity that you have for you, but leave your natural market, leave your Project 200, leave your family and friends, whatever you want to call it, at home. And let's talk about the platforms that we've built from retail environments where you're going to get walk-in business. We have corporate relationships with the post office that we will pay for mailers and marketing material that's going to go out by the hundreds and by the thousands, so that you're constantly going to be having things come in. We have telemarketers, we have commercials on TV. And again, it's not just that you just sit there and just wait for the business to come to you. If you're not working, nothing works. But we really, really try to do what we can to launch the careers of the brokers that we work with. And I say brokers, not agents, because one of the things that we're kind of staunch on is the fact that you really need to almost offer everything in the health industry, because the people that you work with, we don't want you to be steering them in a direction. We don't want you to be, I only work with XYZ company, so Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, you've got to go in that direction. When people walk into our retail environments or call us back from an advertisement or a mailer or a commercial, whatever it be, it's more about them. It's more about educating. It's finding their needs. And then whatever direction is the best one company-wise, we know that we can work with them because they've taken the time, the effort, and the education to have the entire product portfolio that's out there these days. And that's a lot but it's worth it in the end because our clients are absolutely thrilled that they're not pushed, they're not sold, they're not pressured. It's something where it's a great, I mean, I'm not trying to get emotional about it. I cannot tell you how many people have walked out of the Health Plan Superstore in tears just saying, thank you so much for taking the time to actually listen to what I have, to write down my prescriptions, to ask me what doctors I'd like to go to find out what my history is, and just say this has been an absolutely unbelievable experience.
Well, that's huge because I know that without naming names of companies, but we know that there's the captive agents that only work for this one company and they only have the suite of products from that one company. And then when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So now they start interacting with their prospects and their clients, and it's like, oh yeah, you need this. Here's the product, and it's like, well, it's the same thing you gave everybody else. So having the ability to be broker, to be independent, to have that whole suite of opportunities. That's not to say that you just show every single thing to all the clients. That confuses them. It's to say that you ask the right questions, find out what that prospect needs, and goes, oh, well, because we are independent and not tied to any one carrier, what you need is this and this and this, and we've got, and I'm sure that you can show the logos of all of the carriers you work with so that they realize, look, you've got a vast reach, but because of that, here's the best plan because. And I think that that's a huge piece that people really don't understand unless they've lived it.
And you're dead on, and there's only one thing that I would amend about what you just said. We don't ever even get to the point where we say, here's the best plan. When we sit down and we ask them all of those questions for their prescriptions, where they live, their doctors, their hospitals, their preferences, their travel needs, what we do, part of it's from a compliance standpoint, but they actually get their own notepad and they draw the 3 different columns, and we say, here's what it's going to cost for a hospital stay. Here's what it's going to be for blood work. Here's going to be the x-rays. And is there X in the little different columns from there? And I'm not going to say that they make the decisions themselves. We answer any questions that they ask us from a consultative perspective, but literally we use Medicare.gov. We use all the resources that are out there, and the client says, wow, this is going to be a good fit. Some of the times it's staying where they are. Some of the times it's not moving forward with a decision that day, but it's something where and it's not, we really enjoy doing it that way because it's something where nobody likes being there on the other side of the table and saying, we need this check or we can't move forward for your life insurance policy, as many of the people that end up coming forward with us started their career with. And it's just nothing that we do at the Health Plan Superstore is anything genius. We just saw what really, really is a turnoff about the industry, and we tried to respond accordingly, to be honest with you.
So, Tim, have you ever read the book Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller?
I've not.
It's an excellent book. You should make a mental note to read that one. It's just spectacular. But one of the things he talks about in there is exactly what you just said, which is who's the quote unquote hero of the story? You would think that your agent, your broker is the hero. Look, I'm the best. I know all these things and here's the plan for you. But in reality, the hero is the client, the prospect, the insured, and your reps, the brokers, are the guide because you've got the knowledge to guide them around and through the maze and ups and downs and showing them all of these things and helping them make the most empowered, educated decisions so that they are the ones choosing based on the education that they've been provided, and you then are just the guide, like a little tour guide, like over here we have, and now you'll notice over here that we've got, and then they're like, oh, I do need this one, I do need this one. So I think that's such a neat shift that you're not hiring salespeople to push products down someone's throat. You're just hiring guides and just showing people what's best for them and let them select, and I think that's a huge, huge mindset shift.
100% correct. I could not agree more.
So let's talk a little bit about what's in the Health Plan Superstore from either the client's perspective, because they need to come in knowing that they have a lot of opportunity, and then from the broker, the agent's perspective, your team, what are some of the things that your team is providing to the clients? So is it only health plans, and then what kind of broad spectrum of health plans do you have? And then do you have other types of coverages as well?
Sure. Well, actually started that way. When we started years ago, we started in one shopping mall location, and the ownership group at the Health Plan Superstore, none of which had ever even dreamt that would have been the platform that which we would go about. We had worked at office buildings. We had worked at high rises. We had had remote situations where it was all, you go out there and you go about growing your business. And we sat there and we talked, and you said, in all these years that we've been sitting here, no one's been able to walk up to our door. No one's been able to walk to our office and said, this is what my need is. So we really wanted to go and be where the people were. So we opened up our original store over in the shopping mall, literally within an eye shot of the food court. And it was something where we just saw it, and it looked like it would be an excellent fit. And what we offered to our clients was literally the ability that when they're just out there doing their regular day-to-day being into the field, they can just walk in and ask questions, and it's that seamless. So what we offer, we started with just health insurance with what you said, but it very quickly, after about 6 months, we were about a 60-40 split. And to be even more specific, it was Medicare that we targeted, because back when we started, I think somebody turned 65 once every 6 or 8 seconds, and they control about 81% of the wealth in the entire country. So we said, if that's the flag that we're going to fly, be it Medicare, we might as well kind of go at that. And then about 6 months later, we were about a 60-40 split for our clients, with about 60% of it being Medicare, and then 40% of it would have been walk-ins of people who want employee benefits, even if they had a job, somebody that wanted health insurance who were under 65, people looking for life, people looking for dental, people looking for disability, just all that. And it was to the point where we said, all right, well, we need to, the Health Plan Superstore, the Superstore part is not just some gimmicky marketing name. We really have diversified our offerings to the point where it's a Superstore for anything that you would need on all of those platforms that I just described. And we've grown now into the years later it would surprise me if there's something that we could not work with. And then we've even branched out further from there. The shopping mall that I originally started to talk about has grown now into multiple locations there. We have now opened up a business telemarketing center, which not only offers all the products that I described to the brokers that we work with, but now we've even kind of networked out to other industries. In this health business marketing telecenter, for lack of a better term, we also have a home and auto headquarters from an outside company. We've got an estate planning attorney. We've got a mortgage broker. We've got a tax CPA. And they actually have offices in our headquarters, so that makes it even easier. Everybody goes to those networking groups where they go there, they complain after being there for 8 weeks and say, well, I didn't get anything. Well, you know what? How about we not even worry about that part, and how about we try to manufacture it even better for our clients who walk in? And if you do have that question, we've got it in-house. You can have one business card instead of 7, and you can have one person to go to instead of having 8 different people come at you a couple times a year trying to take your business. So that's what we've kind of grown into. And then even, I'd say the most recent is our franchise model. It's to the point where, let's say you own your own business. Let's say you have your own home and auto business or mortgage, some of those things. We'll come in and we can give you the signage, the products, the training, even in some cases, the employees to say, hey, I'd like to bring what the Health Plan Superstore has to my business. I don't want to change anything that I'm doing that I've built for all these years, but can I just add on to the expertise that you bring? And then we started to add multiple locations even on that note.
Yeah, like bolting on to what you're already doing, a new line of business without having to learn the ropes, hire, and get trained. You just bolt on what you've already got going, and then that is an extra revenue stream for that line of business, whether it's that mortgage broker or whoever. So that's a really great opportunity. One thing I wanted to mention to you when you were describing the team, the neat thing with having the different members strategically aligned in that team in the home office is everyone then is on the same page mentally about that client. So in other words, they don't have their own agenda. They're trying to disrupt the wheel. Everyone knows that when they're giving some tax advice or legal advice or mortgage advice, it's all working together because they're literally in proximity with the other pieces of the puzzle, that financial puzzle. And then it really helps to bring that holistic approach to the client. And they're like, wow, I feel cared for. I feel like I'm getting the best advice. I don't have to learn or go around and develop brand new relationships with these staggered service providers. Everyone's in one spot and they all know what we're doing, and it's all like a synchronized plan.
Exactly. And it's just, we thought that the need was there for it because there's so many people in the health industry, the retirement industry, 401k, life insurance, mortgage, property and cash, just all of that. But how many people that you know that do absolutely all of it? I couldn't name one. And so to me, it's like there's a need for all that, and the general consumer needs all that. But why couldn't it be just in one place? And again, I haven't found that perfect man or woman that can do all of those things. So we kind of tried to have it in at least the one center. And it's good that there's multiple people because it's never bad to have another set of eyes looking at something.
Well,
it's never bad to have another,
I would run fast from the man or woman that says I can do it all, because they can't, and they can't do it all great.
You're right.
So that's a great point. Hey, so with all of this suite of services, it sounds spectacular for the client coming on board to see what all they can do, and then also for the agents. Talk a little bit about the type of agents that you're bringing on. Are they just new to the industry, or are they experienced and seasoned, and they see this as a great opportunity to take their current business book of business to the next level?
The part that excited us is that it actually, unlike all these places that are just recruiting factors and they look at you as just a number, it's been more of those experienced reps. You know, when I worked with a larger company, it was almost 100% recruiting new people, get them to leave that thing, go sell to your natural market. For us, in the first year, one of our best reps was somebody who was independent, and he had been in this industry for 17 years. His 18th year with us was his best ever. So we started off looking for people who were just, you know, experienced to the industry. But then in that same light, we said, we want to make it very seamless for you to come aboard if you're new to the industry. And that's where we really became so meticulous on building that platform. So if you were somebody who was coming completely outside of the industry, we had the mailers. We had the walk-in business from the retail part of it. We had commercials that were on TV. Anything that comes in, the ownership group here will come in, run the entire appointment for you, and all the business stays with you. That's one of the things that used to make me absolutely livid when I was with some larger companies, where they'd say, yeah, why don't you work with an established agent and split business? Why would you tell a new person to split business when they've got nothing to start, and you're going to bring he or she in that's been doing this for 20 years, and they're going to take half of it, and the client's probably going to go to them anyway because they could tell very quickly who the experienced person was. So it's almost a corporate promise that we've made to all of us is, listen, we will do anything that we need to try to help you with the business, and you keep everything, all of it. And so if you are an experienced agent, if you are somebody who wants to just get into this industry, we feel that we're a good fit for both. And it's been one where it's that good synergy as well. You know, we've seen the more experienced people helping out the newer people because they saw when they came into the door that it's not predatorial. The people in the ownership group are not just trying to grab everything for themselves. If anything, the lack of turnover has been something that we're more proud of than even the business itself, than even the growth of the sales, because it's something where, I don't know, we didn't get into this business saying we want to have zero turnover for our agents. We want them to be here and it's just worked that way. Part of the other thing is we've cut down the production standards. We've got a guy who's 92 years old. He probably writes 3 pieces of business a year, and we're happy to have him, and I like to tell that story because it's just, we want you to get the best out of the Health Plan Superstore, however it fits your life. We've got a lot of people. We have a full-time Cleveland police officer, and that's not going to change. He's going to be a Cleveland police officer for the next 20 years. But you know what? He's one of our better agents because he's just excellent when he's in front of people. Yep. And he likes to be where he is as a police officer because he's got his benefits, his pension, and he was doing that before he ever met us. But we're a great fit around that schedule. He'll work some of our retail locations maybe on a night, maybe on a weekend, maybe on his off day. Maybe he does it remotely. I'm not saying that we're the perfect fit for everybody, but you've got a hard time convincing me that we can't morph around your schedule based on what you do, because I've just seen so many different ways. So to kind of, as you'll see, I'm not really good with the short answers, but to answer your question of why is this such a good fit for the broker/agent coming in, it's because we really, really try to do it in your best interest instead of doing it in ours. Where everywhere else says, well, this is the corporate policy of XYZ, and you're going to work this many hours, and we're going to sell to this part of your natural market. And if you don't get 29.4 sales by this date, you're done, and we're going to keep the business anyway because we've got 15 people behind you waiting to fill in, and we don't care if you stay or go. And it was just all of that stuff. Maybe the ownership group here needed to see that, because sometimes you need to see what you don't like before you realize what you do. And that's just kind of how we built it. I mean, I think every single company, if they're recruiting you or they're kind of talking about themselves, would say, we really do it, with the broker in mind, with the agent in mind. But I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I think that we really live it here.
Well, there's 2 things that pop in my mind, and then we'll wrap up, because you just have packed in so much value in this conversation. So thank you for coming on. But turnover and reviews. I want to use those 2 words and then give you this analogy that I was thinking of. I don't do, like day trading or stock picking, but I have heard this before. Do you know what an indicator is for a wonderful stock to invest in? And then someone would go, oh yeah, well, the velocity of the blah, blah. No. Warren Buffett, I think, is the one that mentioned this years and years ago. When you're driving around town and you see this restaurant or this store and you notice they're always packed full in the parking lot, and they're just always, just busting out of the seams. That's an indicator that that's a popular store. They're doing something right. So it's probably an indicator that their stock is going to do well because all those things are trickling down. So when you say, oh, we're a great place because, well, that's all fine and good to say, but when you've got dramatically low turnover, that proves it. And when you've got spectacular 5-star reviews, that proves it on the retail side. So it's not just you blowing smoke in the air going, come to us because. It's you going, yeah, come to us because, and we're proving it, backing it up with low turnover, wonderful reviews, and we're a great spot. So, Tim, let's wrap up with, if someone is listening to this going, tell me a little bit more. What's the best way they can reach out, learn more, and connect with you?
Because we work literally around the country, I'd say it's the easiest place, despite the fact that I'd rather just talk with them directly. I think the easiest way to at least find me is to look on our website, and it's our name, the Health Plan, healthplansuperstore.com. You'll see all of our information. You also can look up our email that you can send either an individual message or a resume itself to careers.healthplansuperstore@gmail.com. But yeah, we're pretty easy to find. We've been in business for years now and hope to be in your neighborhood if we're not already, despite where you're listening this to. And I appreciate the time. Like I said, as you can tell, we're proud of what's happened with the Health Plan Superstore, and I really, really enjoy talking about it to anybody who's interested in getting into this community.
Spectacular. Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Have a good rest of your day.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.